2000 and 2010, that 10-year period, we lost 1/3 of the manufacturing jobs in this country, more than 5 million manufacturing jobs lost in that 10 years. Since President Obama took office, since we have begun to work on the auto rescue and enforcing trade policy, we've seen almost 500,000 job increase. First time in 12 years we've seen manufacturing job increases. You know what it means to what that means in Defiance, the auto industry. Connie until recently drove a 6-year-old Pontiac 5, and we just traded in and bought a 2012 Chevy Cruze, where the engine is made in Defiance, Ohio. We'll be hearing more about Defiance, Ohio when it comes to the Chevy Cruze in the months ahead. But the Chevy, I want to just tell you about this car. This is an Ohio car. And this car likely would not have been built if the President and the Democrats in the Senate and the House did what we did. If we had followed what Mitt Romney wanted to do, if we had followed what my opponent wanted to do, these 800,000 jobs in Ohio that are connected to auto, you can be sure a lot of them wouldn't be here today, and a whole lot of them at the Defiance GM plant wouldn't have been here. And here's what this car is. The engine comes from Defiance. The transmission comes from Toledo. The sound system comes from Springboro, Ohio. The parts are stamped in Parma, Ohio. The aluminum comes from Cleveland, Ohio. The steel comes from Middletown, Ohio. The seats come from Warren, Ohio. And it's all put together by 5,000 auto workers in Youngstown, Ohio. And that we Ohio is the third leading manufacturing state in the country. Only California and Texas make more than we do. And many of you are here today. Many of you joined the middle class because you had manufacturing jobs. Many of you, like my wife, got to go to college. First in her family went to Kent State. Got to go to college because her dad carried a union card as a maintenance worker at the Ashtabula Illuminating Company, electric power plant. And a whole lot of you got to go to school because your parents had good manufacturing jobs, usually at union wages, but sometimes non-union, but that's what sent you to school, that's what gave you a middle-class living. And manufacturing is not everything, but it's going to be a major part of what we do. And it's not just this manufacturing policy, the auto rescue, it's also enforcing trade policy. The President of the United States, the International Trade Commission, where I testified and am very involved, they changed the rules on China trade, enforced rules, and there's a new steel plant in Youngstown as a result. There are more tires built in Findlay, Ohio because we enforce trade rules. There's more steel made in Cleveland because we enforce trade rules. There's more paper manufactured in Southern Ohio because we're enforcing these trade rules. And if we're going to keep moving this country in the right direction, remember 5 million job loss, 5 million manufacturing jobs lost in those 10 years between 2000 and 2010. 500,000 gains since 2010. That's why it's so important to keep this country going in the right direction. And one of the big steps in doing that was this week when the Supreme Court did the right thing on the health care law.